shops, right through to festivals, doing mobile phone charging, things like that. So I've got a little list of random things we do. So do like blenders, obviously they're quite popular now, which is where we started, which is where the name came from. I started off as Pedal Cafe, because it just popped up and would turn up at events and I just do pedal-powered smoothies. Since then I've started doing other things, so the name is a bit rubbish. So if anyone can think of a good name, I've kind of tried out Pedal Emporium, but I don't really know if it's any good, so feel free to give me feedback. So after blenders, we kind of moved on to bingo, which is really good fun. I kind of like reclaiming things and using things from skips or things you've just got hanging around the house. So our bingo setup is an old fishbowl with some little polystyrene balls in it, and then we've got a car fan that the bike powers, so it just blows all the balls around. Also a generator that powers amp and microphone as well for the bingo caller. So it's really good, it's a bit of fun, have a bit of laugh with it. Usually put on a really tacky show as well, which is good fun. Bubbles, busking, things that don't begin with B as well. We do like cycle cinemas. That's kind of a new thing. We've just started doing that, hopefully to launch it in the new year. So we've got a really small setup, which is 3 bikes, which will power quite a low wattage projector. You can probably get around about 150 watts from 2 bikes, I'd say. Probably 1 if you've got a really fit cyclist. But say something like this. I should probably go into actually how it works first, maybe.
Is it okay here or should we?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Keep bending, monkey boy.
Yes, yeah.
Go on, keep going. Basically, this is one of our newer ones. Our first ones that I started to make were made from a car engine fan. So I just ripped that off and then extended the spindle and then just ran it off the back of the wheel. So a really kind of homemade way that you can get a generator really easily. Obviously that wasn't regulated, so I blew up quite a lot of stuff to begin with because I just plough into cycling and then it would just break. So then I started regulating things. You can't really see it, but if you come and have a look after, there's a little Tupperware box, and it's just a DC to DC regulator, so you can fine-tune it to exactly what output you want, so you're not going to break anything, which is really handy. So it's a really, really simple process. It's just a permanent magnet motor, just your coil in there, generating the current. And then it's really about management. Most of my systems have kept kind of DC voltage just because it's really easy. You can just plug the appliance in and you don't have to worry about inverting it. But when you get to inverting it, it gets a little more tricky. So sometimes we've got, say, 6 bikes and then we'll try and put all the power into a little power station. Things like that for maybe the bigger cinemas where you want to manage it a little easier. So moving on, we've got things like disco trike. So we pedal power music, sound systems, we've got seasonal cycles. This isn't Rudolf, this is like Blitzen or someone, because Rudolf's out at the moment. But he's got just a shiny nose, so it's okay. And then we're kind of branching out and doing odd things, like we've got the Velo Vardo, which is a little bike trailer that I built. It's got on the back of the bike, and then it's going to house a sound system. And we're going to have some horse bicycles, so we can have a proper like hold down kind of gypsy jazz session, which would be good. And then phone charging as well is one of the other main things we do. Really good at festivals. You can probably power about 30 to 40 phones off of one bike if they're quite low voltage and low voltage. Don't really have much else to say. Just feel free to come up and have a go or ask me any questions. That's cool.
How do you get started?
Do you do schools?
Yeah.
Do you do it on request?
Yeah, just tend to do it on request or on card.
I know my daughter really loved it. You should come to Red Park.
That's cool.
Do something.
Tend to do workshops. I'm much better talking to kids, which is really funny. I'm like, put me in a room with 30 adults, and I'm like, oh my god. But
I presented stuff to my to her school, cool. And they've always been really good. And I know that they would absolutely love it. It'd be a great way to get them to understand about circuits and how they work.
It's got like a really cool switchboard as well, which is just, you can see all the wiring, and it's quite nice for kids to actually hands-on see circuits in action. Especially, I mean, I've not really come from a background where I know a lot about electricity and things, so I've learned it in a real basic way, which is good in some ways, but bad in others. When someone tries to talk really technical at me, I'm just like,
I've got to be honest, I've come to one of your workshops.
oh, that's cool.
I think my daughter actually has come and done producing with you.
Probably, yeah.
Sure.
I've done quite a lot around Cardiff.
Did you do the Made in Spring?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on there. Yeah. It's brilliant. It's awesome. I love how he's always going on about like how we could use ourselves for energy. And we were talking today about biofuels and people using like weed, to like charge batteries and things like that. And we were talking about the bikes.
It's just trying to get creative with it, I think. And
Yeah.
trying to engage people I found the hardest thing, and trying to find a good way to convey the issues or the things I want to get across, but to people that maybe wouldn't think about it otherwise, or who haven't got a natural instinct to kind of think about the issues. But I think through kind of fun and stuff creative, I can get
It's definitely a good idea to get in with the kids, because they're the ones that are going to stop all that fracking, by actually using alternative methods in the future, and that will inspire them. Definitely. Yeah.
Let me know if you want to. Any other questions?
So, are your plans?
Sorry.
Is it something that I could just come along and put my bike on it?
Yeah.
It would work as well?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, so it's all,
Yeah, we could
it's
bring
all
it.
adjustable. Literally. Sorry.
Is it a unit?
So it's actually on the stand here at the back.
Oh, great.
So literally you can just any bike can go on it. It's just a turbo trainer that had broken. So ripped the turbo trainer bit off the resistance unit, and then this one's obviously not from a car. This one's from an electric scooter. So like an electric or bicycle, I think it was, the motor for that.
Oh, is that what charges the battery back up?
Yes, so it's exactly the same principle in electric bikes. You'll just have something like this, or some of them have like hub ones, but a lot of them will just have something like this in there with a little chain driven. So
Was it as simple as that? You sort of just took it off and then put an attachment on it?
hardest bit's been this. This is the only bit I've had to really get made. Is the roller.
Is that where you get your resistance?
Yeah, so literally it's a resistance one. You could probably do change driven and it may be better efficiency, but I quite like the idea of just being able to, some bookings if I'm out of Cardiff, I can just take the stands and I don't have to take all the bikes, so I can just bring the bike along, whack it in, and then...
Because I can imagine people just sort of like cycling up
Yeah.
to like a point where you want to charge your phone.
Yes, yeah.
Just put your bike on.
Put your bike in and go.
Charge your phone.
Yeah, no, it's really nice. Because I'm kind of aware that it's difficult because what you're promoting is sustainability and sustainable transport effectively, and sometimes I end up, using my car and I hate it because I'm like, I feel like it's completely defeating the object. So it's, so I mean that's my kind of aim, is to try and get it a bit more fluid, so I can just, if it's local, I can chuck it in like a trailer, take it somewhere, or just make it less clumpy so I can just get it around. But working on it.
Have you ever had more than one bike hooked up? Is that the only machine you've got?
So 6 at the moment, stands, still trying to make a few more. At 6 you could do a good kind of, probably I'd say like a 2 by 3 metre screen, nice big projection, kind of outdoor cinema or something. Or you could do phone charging, you can just triple the amount you're charging, really. So
you should do like spin classes.
Yeah,
Like,
we did it in the
does a spin class,
festivals.
and at the end you've got
Yeah.
smoothies already made.
We found like at the festivals people were like losing motivation, so you just have to be like, come on guys, 10 seconds, just like, dump it out.
Have you done any collaborations with gyms? Because I imagine it would be something
No,
that
there's
in terms of
such
going outside.
a
really
massive
good.
potential of energy. I've been working, kind of collaborating with a guy in London, and I think he does a lot of pedal power stuff. He's been working with outdoor gym companies, so it powers the lighting at night for the gyms. So kind of everyone's using them during the day, stores it up, then it likes the gym at night. But I don't think he's done any in actual gyms. I think it's one of those industries where they're kind of set in their ways, and it's, unless there's some incentive to kind of do it, they won't.
I don't know why they don't power their own buildings off it anyway.
It's
All these
crazy,
people just
really.
continually running.
Yeah.
Might as well.
No, it's absolutely crazy. Continuing to run it.
But there's such a saturation of gyms, like, it would be a good way for them to get noticed.
Yes. Yeah. I think I've kind of got hopes that it will happen. I think it's got to be soon. Something's got to be done to kind of harness that. But someone will jump on it, even if it's just for a publicity thing. I think just because that would be a good statement. But even if it's just for advertising or something.
What do you reckon a freezer takes to
Freezer.
do ice cream?
We do this. This is one of my school things. I should have brought my chart down. It's great. You have to basically, you've got one of the bigger bikes. You just jump on it, plug it in, and you measure your wattage that you can generate. So you just really give it some welly, and then we map it on a little chart of appliances so people can see how much they would have powered. So like a freezer, I think it's up around 500 watts. So if the average bike, think of like an average bike, just keeping it going consistently would be around about 50 to 60 watts. So you'd need, that's terrible, you need like 10 bikes pedalling consistently to power a freezer. Things like electric showers can be up like the 9,000 mark. It's crazy.
What was that?
Seriously.
9,000.
Yeah, some of them.
It puts it in perspective.
It
so
really
well,
does,
doesn't it?
yeah. I mean, it depends what you're buying as well. If you go for like energy, if you're looking for energy efficiency, or you can tailor it to that. But average, like, it's crazy. The averages.
That's great because it really gets people understanding how much energy we
Yeah,
really
it's
Yeah.
really
when you can
surprising.
feel it and
Do
you
you
can feel
really
it.
Yes, yeah.
And you can feel it.
Have you done anything about storing energy?
No, kind of, because I work mainly with education, I try and keep it as direct as possible, because I always worry that, I always worry that people think there's some kind of catch if there's a battery involved. If it's just for like an event or fun, or to get
Yeah, but then you say
feedback.
about
If it was
charging
something
phones.
like even
so
that.
you're storing the energy in your phone.
Well, you're storing it in your phone, yeah. So, but we're not storing anywhere. So, like at festivals, a lot of the time we get people jump on, do like 2 minutes, and then be like, "Oh, I'm too hungover for this," and then just run off. So all the phone banks just stop. So we're like, "Get back on the bikes." It's really direct. So I think it kind of keeps it in perspective. But I guess if it's bigger projects where you're trying to use it day to day, if you were trying to install something in your house,
I was thinking wider
in an-
implications. I mean, we all know about the clockwork radios
yes, yeah.
in Africa,
Yeah. So I think
developed countries.
as soon as you get it into, if you want it for a design where it's going to be used every day, and it's about the efficiency of it, then I think you've definitely got to think about storing it. You've got to be so careful with how you store it as well, because it can be so inefficient. It's really trying to work out the best way to handle it.
I mean, if you cycle to work, you can charge up your phone and work.
Yeah. There's someone's done it already, but they're really expensive. But it's amazing how you could make it. You could make that really cheaply. You could probably run that off a little, the little bike light dynamos.
Yeah, well, that's what I had when I was younger. I remember the dynamos, but they go off when you stand still.
Yeah.
But if you had like a
But even if you
charger,
just
There are
topping
good
up,
ones now.
topping up
What-
charging.
What is the cost approximately of
So
making the donut?
if you're a bit handy with stuff and you can kind of get it all together. I mean, like the turbo trainer was broken, so you can kind of, if you really search out, you can usually find broken stuff. So these, if they're broken, people just don't want them, which is really handy. This one was from an electric bike. Someone gave me this one, but I think you can probably get replacement ones for about 25 quid. But then the first one and my main ones are just car heater fans, so you could just go down like reclamation yards and just rip it out of there. But there's all different sizes, types. You just kind of have a little play around and see.
Cardiff is doing the new businesses that you recycle old stuff and like giving out massive grants like under the
Oh, I
road.
didn't know that. That sounds
You
good.
should look into that.
We should have a
Like
chat.
companies that recycle stuff.
Yeah.
It could be massive.
Yeah, it's hard trying to. It's really funny. I always refer to it as we. Oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. It's actually just me at the moment, and I think I've got into the cinema like, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that. Because often when you're trying to get work, often I get kind of
other businesses or things come through to me on email. So I'm like, yeah, we can do this. Our staff are fully trained in this and this. And then I'm like, that's just me really, isn't it? But that's okay. But I've got like a little bank of people that come out and do kind of, you know, are there to help at events and stuff, which is really good. But it's, yeah, I'm kind of scared that growth maybe. I'm kind of growing gradually and just trying to keep on top of it, because I've got like a one-bed flat with about 20 bikes in the front room, and it's terrifying. Like it's terrifying at the minute, but yeah.
Have you ever like powered over a gig or something?
Don't like sound systems, so
How many bikes does that take?
depends what size you're going for. I've done little ones. I haven't ever done a massive one, but I've worked with guys that have done kind of stages
Spin range.
and things. But you've got like speakers. They're probably a little bit smaller than these, but you could power. You just literally have to work out the maths. So whatever wattage your speakers are, just imagine you're going to get about 50 to 60 watts per bike, and then just like times it by that. But
there's a charity called Jolly Rider that used to do a bit of work that shipped bikes, recycled bikes out to the Gambia in order to get children to school on time. And
that is
it'd be really
awesome.
interesting to see whether, because they have a lot of gaps in the container that they fill with tools and various things, but if something like that were to be shipped out, whether that would be something that would be really useful, because the power there isn't.
You could charge up their laptops on the way to school.
Well, yeah, and many applications for charging anything.
Yeah, it would be interesting
could
to see what use it would have, what their kind of electricity demand is as well.
Yeah.
That's another thing I find hard to grasp is demand.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, even if it was just like a torch in the
Yeah,
evening.
yeah, definitely. There's so much potential to work with it. It's and even like hand generators as well, which is like a similar principle. Obviously even smaller. Just I'd love to be able to design something really small and high efficient efficiency that you could send out and to use. But
Like if it clipped onto the top of that.
yes, yeah. I'm gonna have to write all these ideas down.
If that's all right.
Yeah, thank you, Karen.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.